Amanda Waller's long and winding life journey has brought her to the brink of hell and back, from the blood-soaked streets of Chicago to the halls of governmental power. But what happens when the Wall comes face to face with an enemy she can't intimidate? Well, let's hop into the pages of Absolute Power Origins issue number 3, the grand finale to this mini, and find out what happens next together, shall we? Alrighty then, so as we join the book, we once again jump forward in time. Task Force X and Belle Rev is established, and they're already making some very powerful enemies. As you see, today is the most fateful of days when the Wall would come face to face with the Dark Knight. And I gotta say, I absolutely love what John Ridley does here with this big meeting. Again, if you've been paying attention to the previous 2 issues, Batman has basically been haunting Waller since her metaphorical rebirth following the death of her daughter and husband. After all, Batman represents the sort of dangerous vigilantism that Waller wants to try and stomp out at all costs, so I think it's great that when these two finally do meet, Batman dismantles her entire security force, including Rick Flag Jr., only to come face to face with her and not say a damn word, because really, why does he need to say anything? His actions couldn't be louder, and that is, hey Waller, it doesn't matter what you do, how much power you accrue, how many walls you build around yourself, I will be able to get to you, I will be able to find you, because I am vengeance, I am the Knight, I am a vigilante, and it doesn't matter if you're working for the government or not, if you do wrong, I'm going to take you down. And as you might have guessed, this meeting really ends up dealing a major psychological blow to Waller. She starts spiraling out of control, as in just a few moments, Batman managed to expose all of the fatal flaws within Waller's years worth of work. How can she ever hope to challenge the superhero community? How can she ever hope to transform America and protect democracy if she can't even stop one rich guy in a bat suit? Hell, even Rick Flag starts to wonder aloud if they should pack in the entire operation. I mean, they were lucky this time it was just Batman, but what happens when Superman, Green Lantern, or Wonder Woman get their number? It's after this absolutely trying experience, Waller wants nothing more than to go home. Unfortunately, her driver reminds her that her daughter Coretta has been trying to get in contact with her for weeks now and that she can't dodge a meeting anymore. Waller very coldly and callously describes meeting with her daughter for coffee like some sort of military maneuver, one she's going into undergunned and without recon. In fact, she takes her anger out on the driver by firing him there right on the spot. Now, what is it that Coretta wanted to see her mother about? Well, for starters, she's pregnant. No doubt by the same guy that Waller threatened in the previous issue. Coretta wants her mother to be part of the baby's life, but at the same time, she fears that her mother may never be able to change the course she's on. And that sadly, the only language her mother will understand is the language of subterfuge and intimidation. It's because of that we discover that Coretta actually bugged her mother's phone and recorded her threatening powerful politicians. The crazy part is Waller isn't even mad. In fact, she's impressed at her daughter's initiative, willing to do whatever it took and stoop to any low to get what she wanted. Again, hey, like mother, like daughter, right? The only difference is that Coretta hated doing what she had to do and says that unless her mother is willing to abandon her wicked ways and see the light once again, she's unwelcome, with the rest of her family starting right now. So yeah, when it rains, it pours. Not only was Amanda absolutely embarrassed by Batman, but now her own family is actively turning away from her. Again, the very same family that spurred Waller on to become the spy master that she is now, her own raison d'etre. So what we basically have here is a woman at a crossroads. At this point, Waller probably could have just packed in everything she was doing with Task Force X, take the L, and go back to living a normal life, but oh, Waller is so far past that right now. In fact, during her conversation with Rick Flag, she manages to riddle out that the only way Batman could have pierced her inner sanctum is if he was actively let in, and in fact he was. Well, Matches Malone was. And now the Wall is starting to think that this defeat might actually be a victory in disguise. Now they actually have Batman's DNA, his fingerprints. Oh sure, he won't be in any database, but now they can actually start to build an actual profile on him and by extension the rest of the superhero community. She decides to send an entire team to Gotham to start gathering evidence and set up surveillance, even though, as Rick Flag is sure to say, that's all a massive invasion of privacy and probably breaking about a dozen different laws. Oh, don't worry, the Patriot Act will be signed soon enough, and then that'll be completely legal for the government to spy on citizens. And then, hey, give it a couple more years and people will willingly allow tech companies to spy on them. Waller might be evil, but she's also very much ahead of the curve, it seems. This turn of events completely re-energizes Waller. She thinks she might finally be able to get her dream plan back on track, and because of that, she buys a bunch of roses. And later attempts to reconcile with the rest of her family on the day that her first grandchild is being born. Only here's the thing, Waller gets absolutely turned away at the hospital. Her sons heard the recording, and they don't want any of their mother's negativity anywhere near this new baby. After all, this is a chance to start fresh, to begin again, to not be dragged down by the demons of the past like Waller is so clearly allowing herself to be. And you know what? For a split second there, we see a side of Waller we've never seen before, a woman truly defeated, truly dejected. This battle with her family was truly a battle she wasn't prepared for, one she couldn't win by blackmailing or intimidating. The grand culmination of all her sins finally blowing up in her face. She sacrificed everything for her family, and now her family actively wants nothing to do with her. Well, maybe not everyone. Her youngest son, Martin, who interestingly enough is wearing a Green Lantern hat, admits that he's a little split on his mother's complicated legacy. He can't say for certain whether or not Amanda is right when it comes to the superhero community, and in a nice bit of creative foreshadowing, we are once again treated to Amanda's vision on Earth 3 of a rogue Superman threatening the entire world. Martin also fears what the world will say about his mother when the time comes, that she's a monster, that she's an animal with a dark heart and a black soul. And oh man, you can tell Ridley picked those specific words for extra oomph, and it definitely works. Waller doesn't worry about herself though, essentially saying that she made peace with her own legacy a long time ago, and moving forward she only hopes she has the power she needs to do what needs to be done. Even if again it ends up costing her absolutely everything. And it's on that note right there the comic comes to a close, everyone. And so that was Absolute Power Origins issue number 3, and I gotta take my hat off to John Ridley for managing to craft such a chilling, effective, and even occasionally sympathetic portrayal of Amanda Waller. A woman who was willing to sacrifice everything she ever loved in the name of protecting everything that she loved, and now, with the metaphorical chickens coming home to roost, Waller is essentially forced to complete her plan to destroy the superhero community, lest her entire life and all of her sacrifices be for nothing. Like I said, it's a pretty complex and unique take on this sort of character. One could very easily have told a more simplistic, more cliche version of this tale where Waller's path to hell was always paved with good intentions, but this story also seeks to posit too that if Waller was capable of all of this stuff, then maybe even if her husband and daughter had lived, there's no telling what she could have ended up becoming. I also really gotta compliment how this book uses Batman too. I feel like few comic book stories really manage to capture what it feels like to be on the other end of the Dark Knight detective. And here Ridley manages to pull all of that off without him even speaking a word. I thought this was a great tie into Absolute Power, and really my only complaint is that it's only 3 issues. I feel like this could have been much longer, and that there's still huge swaths of Waller's life I would love to see explored, and hey, maybe one day they will if this one sells enough. Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one an 8.5 out of 10. Definitely a high point for Absolute Power, and something that I think will end up becoming required reading for any Suicide Squad fan out there worth their salt. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Jewel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Jewel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.